Hi YouTube! Welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be watching Pokemon Edibility Unraveled by Polygon, the channel. This is the first time we're actually checking out this channel. I have seen it around, but I've never watched a video of it. So this is gonna be a new experience. And I don't know, I selected something that I like, that I enjoy, like Pokemon, and seemed very out there, let's put it this way. So yeah, why not go on a whole like dissection of how would you eat Pokemon, because we've all wondered that at some point. No, I mean I have multiple times. But yeah, if you want to help out the channel, please click like and subscribe, and let's just jump into it. Oh,
Pokemon, pocket monsters.
let me put
You
this here.
gotta catch 'em all, as they say.
Yes, sometimes.
But in the world of Pokemon, there are an abundance of creatures, and certainly not every one of them will be caught and cherished by a trainer. Some may stay wild, or fight fires,
Yeah.
or become surrogate fathers to 10-year-old protagonists with hot moms.
I mean,
But is that the extent
I don't wanna
of
talk
their
about that.
use in the Pokemon universe? Today, I'm going to solve the #1 most requested question I get in my Twitter mentions and emails and in skywriting above New York City. Today, I am
also by the way, very nice hair. Hello? I wish I had hair like that.
finally... I cannot do this. I can't do
Why
this.
not?
I can't do Pokemon edibility, Tara, because I literally said after the first episode, don't ask me to do this again. And the only reason we agreed to do more Unraveleds is because we specifically said I would never, ever, ever have to do Pokemon edibility, right? Like, I can't reveal... Like, if I do
What?
this, there's no more worlds to conquer. This
I
is
mean-
it. This would have to be the final Unraveled.
Well, then I guess this is the final Unraveled.
Okay.
Today, for my final Unraveled.
Is it actually? Like,
I am
was
ranking
it
Pokemon
actually
by
the last
edibility.
one in the series?
But can I first just say that this question is flawed? When people ask for an Unraveled on Pokemon edibility, it's always, can you rank Pokemon based on their edibility? Rank? No, I can't rank Pokemon on...
Yeah, I mean, you could rank them on taste, maybe, but then again, like, it's very subjective, and we actually have very little information, no? Like, yeah, sure. Sorry, it's just because it was there on the thumbnail, but yeah, sure, like, we could use a milk tank as cows and, like, get beef from it. But I don't know if it would actually taste nice. The only thing that's ever been said to taste nice in Pokemon is Slowpoke tails, no? As far as I know. So, yeah. It's very subjective, and we have very little information. But yeah, maybe just talk about whether you could eat it or not. But then again, I guess most of the... Yeah, you could eat most of them, no? Because technically we can eat most living beings. Not... Well, I say that. I was gonna say not many are toxic, but actually a fair fucking few are toxic or very lethal in some way.
edibility because edibility is a Boolean function. Either something is fit for human consumption or it is not. Pizza is not more edible than salad.
Yeah.
They're both just edible. So asking me to find the most edible Pokemon is a fallacy. There's no such thing as the most edible Pokemon. So don't try to find it. I'll stop complaining. I'm just
I
saying that y'all
guess
are
there
asking
is
one
one.
question,
No,
but meaning
it's gotta be
another. So let's unravel what you
some,
actually
like, hidden
mean by
lore.
finding which Pokemon are fit for human consumption. And by the way, I'm not arguing the ethics of eating Pokemon. If you slice a sirloin from Mama Kangaskhan and fry it up while her baby watches, is that morally reprehensible? I
Probably.
don't know. And I don't have to, because apparently that question isn't important to you sickos. Kangaskhan meat is edible, and that's all there is to it. So let's talk about how we find this info. First, we start with a list of...
So what is going on with it? Oh, wow, okay. What is going on with the subtitles? I keep putting them back here on the left, but it doesn't seem to want to stay there. So, yeah, well, tough.
every Pokemon, including variations and regional forms, just in case
okay.
a Pokemon is only edible in one specific state. Then we
makes
start
sense.
finding equivalents in our world. This is easy enough for Pokemon like Miltank, which is just a big milky dog, but it becomes a bit more difficult with abominations like Aromatisse. What is that?
It's kind of like, I don't know, it's meant to be like a bit perfume-like. You know, like one of those very old-fashioned and very fancy perfume bottles that you'd spritz with the. Sorry, I'm using my hands to. This is not going well. I'm using my hands to try to describe this, but it's not. I forget. You guys can't see it. Shit. Yeah, but one of those, like, it's a bottle of perfume with the hose coming out and a little squeezy bit that you squeeze to spritz it. I guess it's like based very loosely off that, kind of.
A sexy bird? A piece of sentient cotton candy that started doing local burlesque shows? At this point, we must turn to the Pokedex to decide if we're free to chow down. This is also important for clarifying things like execute, which might seem like a bunch of eggs, but according to the Pokedex, are actually seeds. In Aromatisse's case, the Pokedex says that its scent is so overpowering that unless a trainer happens to really enjoy the smell, he or she will have a hard time walking alongside it.
Oh.
Sadly, even this does not paint a clear enough picture on noshability, so it's time for the final step.
Yeah, and I guess most of the steel types are not going to be edible. Because steel types are generally one of two things. Either they are a creature covered by metal plates, or they are straight up made of some type of metal. If it's the second, yeah, unfortunately, no way to do it. If it's the first, it could be tough, but it's technically doable.
Using my years of experience as both a gamer and human who has survived multiple encounters with dubious food to decide if I could eat that Pokemon. Aromatisse is basically
so you do have more things to check out from him. Hey.
I could eat that. So Miltank, Aromatisse, Execute, and Kangaskhan are all edible, but that's just 4 of the 969 Pokemon. Considering how vast a task it would be to qualify the edibility of every one of them, I originally tried to disqualify entire types, like poison. But even that...
Yeah, like, I don't know if many, but there are frog-looking or frog-adjacent poison Pokemon. And frogs are definitely edible and actually quite tasty, even though their little bony bits are awful to eat because they break very easy and they're very small and
that doesn't work. The problem is that when the Pokedex says poison, it sometimes means venom. And the difference between poisonous and venomous is
snakes,
extremely important in edibility.
Not all of them.
Here's a diagram to explain it. Basically, if you want to eat a king cobra, you'll not only have the easiest fun fact for any future icebreakers, but you'll also be fine so long as you cut off its head, which is where the venom glands are. But if you get a hankering to lick up on that tasty-looking golden poison frog, you're buying a one-way ticket to Ground Town, which is what I call the cemetery. What I'm saying is that if Pokemon can somehow differentiate between ground and rock type, they could have a poison and venom type. Anyway, here's all the poison types that are edible.
That is certainly a hot take that I don't disagree with. Oh, okay, sorry, I just caught that. Yes, I like that, okay.
Now let's talk about other ways to narrow this down.
Yeah, arthropods, that's a good fucking shout. Arthropods. Spiders, specifically, or arachnids. Like, most of them are very much edible, and some describe as tasty. It's often very bitter, though. Most insects are very bitter. Only had a couple in my life. Yeah. But yeah, also, by the way, yeah, I have eaten a bunch of weird things. Don't mind that. I do like to experiment. But yeah, most arthropods are very edible, even though they look very weird. Oh, you can eat crab and shrimp, so who's to say that the land crabs and shrimps aren't only aren't allowed?
Ultra beasts who are beyond human.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You are allowed to swear. Don't stress about it.
Human understanding and probably not organic in nature. So it's pretty safe to say that they wouldn't be fit for human consumption.
I mean, if an alien came to Earth would you be down to eating it? Like, it's dead already, right? It's dead, and we've done all the science possible. Okay, let's establish that one. Also, he is being eaten by Guzzlord. So yeah, an alien falls down on Earth. It's dead. We've done all the science. We literally have no other use for it. Would you be down to eat it? And it's fresh, right? Let's not say it's rotten. Would you eat it? I mean, like, let's go back a bit. Celesteela, for example, here. It's literally just a rocket. No, I'm not gonna eat it. Buzzwole? That looks like it has some very juicy meat, or at the very least, very drinkable innards, maybe? I don't know. I would go for like a smoothie of Buzzwole. No?
nature.
Am
So
I
it's pretty
insane?
safe to say that they wouldn't be fit for human consumption. Similarly, the steel in Steelix would most... Can I just say that the reason I never wanted to do this Unraveled is because it's so overdone? Like, if you Google
Yeah.
eating Pokemon, you get
It's
43
fair.
million search results. You could find hundreds of articles and videos and podcasts and wiki entries discussing Pokemon edibility, but no, you still insist on me doing it. Like, this isn't even research into things that have very little meaning. It's the research equivalent of a baking soda volcano. I'm not doing anything new, and that's a waste of both your and my time.
Hey, take it as a compliment. People like you. That's how I would choose to see that.
Wow,
Though
why do you even want to
get his
know
point.
the most edible Pokemon? You don't want to know that. You don't.
I kind of do.
Here's the list of every inedible Pokemon. It took me a couple days to run through my process.
Okay, so yeah, poison ivy, bees. Can you not eat a bee? I guess it wouldn't be such a great idea. What are even the Nidoran lines supposed to be? I don't know. Like, genuinely, I don't know what they are. Like, little creatures with the horn. And apparently secrete poison. I don't know. Yeah, you wouldn't want to eat like a Rafflesia. Is that the flower's name? Oddish is supposed to be kind of an onion, no? I thought so at the very least. Maybe not. Could be wrong. Yeah. Fire types, not most, I guess, but many of them wouldn't be such a good idea. All Rotom. Yeah, fair enough. All Rotom types, not edible. I completely agree. I also wouldn't want to eat like Vivillon, but not Butterfree. Interesting. Okay. Why? Oh, good choices. Yeah, Garbodor. I wouldn't want to eat that. Regice, come on. What do you mean? You can't eat rice. Rice? You can also eat rice. Yeah, but that's not the point here. You can eat ice. That's not... I don't fully agree with your list here, Mr. Funny Man.
For every one of them, but I'm glad I did because there were some interesting
Unless I'm
ones.
missing something.
Like how
Could be.
Slowking and Slowbro are both edible, but their Galarian counterparts are not.
Yes, because they're full of poison.
And the Porygons are one of the only normal types that are inedible because they're made of code. And I had originally thought that Reuniclus would be a nice jelly boba, but it turns out that if you drink the liquid surrounding it, it grants both wisdom and immediate death, making Reuniclus the Pokemon equivalent of a Tide Pod. On the other hand, roughly 3/4 of all Pokemon are edible.
Wow.
And I reiterate, this is not new knowledge. It's literally written into the games. Children used to have Appleton as a snack. Basculin are remarkably tasty and have often appeared on the dinner table. In Drompa's Pokedex, it says, if a child it has made friends with is bullied, it will find the bully's house and burn it to the ground.
Yep.
That doesn't have anything to do with edibility, but it is metal as hell. Also,
Yeah,
you can still eat
I
Drop.
love
But
that
this
entry.
still isn't what
It
you
is one of the
asked me
more
for.
famous
You
ones,
wanted me
for a
to
reason.
rank Pokemon by edibility, and the closest I can get to that is ranking Pokemon type by edibility based on the percentage of Pokemon that are edible and have that
fair.
type. Poison is the least edible. Normal is the most edible.
Wow. I guess Ghost is also not quite edible due to the fact of them, or most of them, not being material. But yeah, kind of expected Steel to be like Either the last or the second to last. Apparently not. Yeah, water types, yeah, a lot of fish here, that's fair. Fighting, you could debate there that many of them actually look too much like humans, but then again, it is not unknown for humans to eat other humans, so I'll just leave that there.
Edible. Wow! What a revelation! Who would have thought that normal things are good to eat and poisonous things are not? But that's not good enough for you, is it? Because you want a full ranking. You want to know the most edible Pokemon. But as I mentioned previously, that's impossible. And if, hypothetically, it was possible, I can promise you wouldn't want to know that. So maybe what you actually want me to rate is deliciousness. I wanted to find a baseline for something completely devoid of taste, like pure water. And surprisingly, that's not a water type, because most water types are delicious.
Yeah.
From succulent kinglers to...
Can you imagine how much like crab meat would be inside this claw? Oh, because kinglers are not small. That'd be so much food. Wow.
Light, flaky Magikarp to...
I'm genuinely getting hungry now.
Palpitoad. So our baseline for completely devoid of taste is actually cast form, because its molecules were found to be just like water, which is another way of saying it's water. But let's talk about the worst and best tasting Pokemon, because no one cares about the middling ones. Pokemon type does help us a little in this regard, because we can assume that rock type Pokemon like Cranidos would be a little less texturally pleasant than, say, the fairy type Cleffa, which
would probably be very tough. Like, they likely have a very hard, I want to say shell. It would be skin, strictly speaking, but like very, very, very tough skin and a lot of tough muscles, but not a lot of good meat. That makes any sense, right? Like meat that's way too tough. You know when you have to treat meat to actually, like, especially game meat or wild meat, you gotta treat it really, really well for it to be barely edible sometimes. Like, when it's not usually edible types of meat, I mean. Like, I don't know, bear or something.
I want to stab with a stick and roast over a bonfire. Also, all normal slash flying type Pokemon are basically the pheasants, turkeys, and chickens of this world, so they probably taste pretty good.
Ooh, Farfetch'd. I don't know why Farfetch'd always looked very, very tasty to me. I don't know, it's probably like, he kind of looks like a duck. I don't think he's supposed to be a duck, but he kind of looks like a duck. And he's got that puffed out chest, you know? Like, you can see how much meat is there.
Now, do I feel comfortable saying that Farfetch'd nuggets would be the most delicious thing in the Pokemon universe? Yeah, I do. On the opposite side of the scale, we have the humanoid and hyper-intelligent Pokemon. And I'm not entirely convinced that Sock isn't just a blue man that got separated from his group. A lot of our experience with food is how we conceptualize it, and sometimes a delicious food like haggis becomes less delicious when we think about what it is.
Haggis is one thing that I never had, and I really, really want to. But it's something that I just cannot find here, and I would not trust for it to be made properly. As in, the proper recipe and not some bastardization, because people apparently can't, they feel squeamish when they have, not very prim and proper things.
And where it came from.
But I really, really want to try it out.
But that's getting a little too close to ethics for my liking, so just shut your eyes and chew that Alakazam meat. And speaking of Alakazam, there's a little loophole in this whole deliciousness thing. If an Alakazam trusts someone deeply, it'll let them have one of its spoons. And anything you eat with that spoon is apparently delicious.
Okay, so that's just a cheat code. Okay, question. Your Alakazam trusts you a lot and gives you one of its spoons. You then butcher it, let's put it this way, and eat it, does the spoon power still apply? Does it have to be alive for it to work still? Or do you just... Or can you just... Are you just... I'm not gonna say out loud, but can you, like, in the sense of, is it possible to do the most heinous thing ever?
And if there's a spoon that makes anything delicious, what's the point of me ranking every Pokemon by deliciousness? Seriously, what's the fucking
fun?
point? Which Pokemon are
A
edible
thought
is
experience?
not a novel concept.
Sorry,
In
experiment.
fact, I'd be willing to bet that it's up there in the top 3 most theorized things about video games, alongside what's the real Zelda timeline and are Banjo and Kazooie married? By the way,
Yes.
they are, but it's purely for insurance purposes, and it's an open thing. And which Pokemon tastes the best isn't that much better. It's like the second step after your first deep thought about a video game. And the third step would be, what if the protagonist is actually in a coma and
no.
has been
I
imagining
hate
the
that
whole
one.
story?
It's awful.
Guess what? You can say that about every fictional story because someone has imagined it. They're called the writer of the story. That's what fiction is.
Someone is very upset over a thought experiment.
And what would you even do with the knowledge of the most edible Pokemon, right? Like, you can't uncrack that egg. If it's not most edible or most delicious, then what do you want to know? Like, maybe which Pokemon is the most calorically dense? All right, let's rank them by that. First off, let's define a calorie. It's the amount of energy needed to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius.
Yes.
Except when you're looking at most American food labels, it's a capital C calorie, which is actually a kilocalorie. And why do we call it a calorie as a...
Oh, so this is weird. Let me check something. No. Yeah. Just... I don't know why you guys do that. You guys are very weird with your fake measurements.
opposed to a kilocalorie like the rest of the world? Well, because if Americans have a chance to make something more confusing, they will take that chance. I know this because I'm American and I made this fucking series. So let's discuss how many calories are in the meat and leaves and goo of Pokemon. Once again, we consult the Pokedex, except the problem is that the Pokedex entries are bonkers. Literally every other Pokemon has a description that breaks the laws of physics. Pyroar is said to have a fiery breath of more than 10.
The fire types in particular are very, well, infamous for that type of thing. Like, Macargo, I think, it's like, you cannot get closer to, like, I don't know, like 10 kilometers to Macargo. Because, like, he's just hotter than the sun, actually. Yeah.
1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The surface of the sun is about 9,940 degrees Fahrenheit. This Pokemon has a fucking fusion reactor in its belly, and you're telling me I need to determine the caloric density of a Pyroar rump roast? What's the caloric value of the sun? Don't actually tell me, I don't care. And that's not even taking into account what happens after you eat it. If you serve your family Pyroar steaks as a special treat, you're gonna end up with a toilet experience that gets dramatized by HBO in 40 years. It's just so frustrating because the only reason I'm doing this Unraveled is because y'all won't stop asking me for it. I have actively avoided doing this for more than 2 years because it is a fool's errand. Pokemon
it is, but it's also
has been
fun.
asked and answered so many times, and trying to find a clever angle or
But also, yeah, I want to just add, he does go into some details that, I don't know, I haven't seen and I wouldn't have thought about. Just like, yeah, talking about the caloric density of a Pyroar or something. I don't know, I like these deep dives. I guess he's like mostly just, not skimming, but like, it's just one dip below the surface and then like coming back. But I don't know. I like it. I like it. It's a good analysis without taking too long to touch on one single aspect of how to rate things. I enjoy it.
Hot take. It's not gonna work. They ask me for the most edible Pokemon, but they know not what they ask. It's like, you remember back in the Castlevania Unraveled when I said that I originally had a cut that was an hour long and terribly boring?
I haven't watched
and then
that.
people
Might add to the
still
list.
asked me to release it? Why? Why would you want that? After I specifically said that it was bad. I didn't even enjoy it, and you know I love to hear myself talk, right? Like you think you want it, like how you think you want the answer to Pokemon edibility, but you don't. Let me show you a clip of what you're missing from the unreleased Castlevania Unraveled. So Olrox's motivations, as described by the Castlevania wiki, are all about thrills and curiosity. And that's not evil. That's just fun. That's what you've been requesting for all these years. That's that thing. All right, you say you want to know the truth about the most edible Pokemon because it's going to make you happy, but I know the truth and it hasn't made me happy.
But I want to know the truth as well. Let's be unhappy together.
Shit. That was I didn't mean to say I misspoke. I misspoke. That was didn't, because obviously, because I've spent the whole video talking about how it's impossible to know the most edible Pokemon, so it would be so I wouldn't know it. Okay, look, I do know the most edible Pokemon.
Yeah.
I've known since before I started Unraveled.
Yeah.
You see, I used to be a normal type person.
Share
like
it
you.
with
I
a
was
glass.
unburdened with the knowledge of video game lore. But then one day, I asked my friends an innocuous question. Do you think you can eat Pokemon? And they said, who cares? Pokemon aren't real. What a meaningless thing to ask. But I didn't
Sounds
think it was
like
meaningless.
someone I know.
And I wanted to prove them wrong, so I began researching. And the more I dug into the question, the more there was to discover. And suddenly, the question changed from, do you think you can eat Pokemon, to what is the most edible Pokemon? There was a shell of mystery surrounding it, and I wanted to break in and find the golden yolk of truth. I spent years learning everything I could about Pokemon from a gustatory standpoint, and at the end of this journey, I finally cracked
What a
it.
choice of words.
I found the most edible Pokemon. And I told my friends, and they still didn't care.
Yeah.
I thought having the answer...
The point is not the destination, it is the journey. We want to have fun and whimsy. Talking about how to best eat Pokemon. We don't care who is. Actually, I do care. I want to know it right now. Please tell me.
Was going to make me happy. That it was going to prove the worth of my quest, prove my worth, and show people that what I was doing had meaning. I cared so much about knowing the truth that I completely ignored how much fun I had finding it. Spoiler alert, Unraveled has never actually been about proving the answer to surreal questions. In fact, it's mostly about proving the opposite. Sometimes creators intentionally leave blank space, and it's fun to speculate what bizarre truths could fill that space. But it's less fun to carve those into canon. There are rarely, if ever, any...
That's a fair point. Most of the time in fiction, it's actually... I would say it's been known, but it's been properly talked about very recently, or relatively recently, about fiction specifically, where you do not, or rather, it's about writing fiction, strictly, but it's a bad idea to explain why your world is magical and why things are the way they are. Leave the blank space, do not engage with the house. sometimes not even the whys. Like, sure, justify your character's actions, for example, but leave the magic there, right? Because once you start explaining it, it kind of becomes the same thing as power scaling, right? Where you have a measurement of how this compares to that and who would win in this circumstance or the other. And that just takes away the magic, the wonder, and the, I don't know, the engagement with the world. It becomes just a numbers game, and that's not magic, it's math. And people don't really like math.
Foolproof answers to subjective questions like, what's the best Skyrim book? Or should we be allowing Brian to spend so much sponsor money on milk? And that's why it's so great to ask them. The joy I've gained from these Unraveleds has never been about the final answer. It's always been how I got there.
Yep.
And it might appear at the start that it's all a lot of research into things that have very little meaning.
Which is true.
No matter how small and niche and insignificant
let's not
something might
beat around the bush.
The very act of researching or spending time with or caring for it imbues it with meaning to you and to the people you share it with.
What a message. Out of nowhere. Super inspirational.
Except for my asshole friends. And that's why I'm so reluctant to tell you the most edible Pokemon. The best gift I can give you is the chance to search for yourself. But
no! I want my answer! Give me! I know you just said some bullshit for me to be happy with the journey and to be curious, but I want my answer!
As this is my final Unraveled, I still have a contract to uphold. I will tell you the most edible Pokemon, but before I do, I want to give you a chance to pause this video and leave. Go now, and you can still have
Okay, bye-bye. No, let's
those
watch it.
fun arguments about how Psyduck would taste better than Slurpuff. Or you can stay, and we can be crushed under the unbending, immovable mass of truth. Together.
And I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like I'm doing something wrong here. But I gotta see what he thinks at the very least.
I hoped you would have left, but I respect your decision.
Why do I feel like I'm getting like severely debated here?
The truth must be revealed. The most edible Pokemon is Togepi. You can fry them up, boil them, make a nice souffle,
Sorry, this is a horrible scene. Oh, I don't know. There are very few things that annoy me more than eggshells in my eggs, and this is.
Crack them over rice. Heck, you can even slurp them down raw.
Oh,
and that's not
no.
even counting the ways you
this
can
is
use
awful.
them in baking cakes. Now, legally, you can't ask me to do this again.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, I should have seen that coming. No, Togepi is literally just an egg. I mean, sure, there's a little creature inside, but every egg has a little creature on the inside. That's fair. Okay. So that was Pokemon Edibility Unraveled by Polygon and Brian David Gilbert and Patrick Gill and Jenna Stuber, apparently. So yeah, if you enjoyed, please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra! Bye-bye! Mwah!